Hey, it's Michael Zipursky here from consultingsuccess.com. Hope you're having a great day. And today I want to share with you 7 of the best questions to ask your clients and your prospective and ideal buyers. So let's jump right into this. And if you haven't checked out the previous video about why it's so important to ask questions, be sure to check that out. Learn from that and then come back to this video because I'm going to move right to the heart of the matter and share with you 7 of these critical questions to ask your ideal clients. So the first one is, what is the #1 priority for this business unit during this fiscal year? Now, of course, you can adapt, and I encourage you to adapt these questions so that they're more relevant for your specific situation. So you might say it might not be a business unit, it might be a company, it might be an organization, it might be a specific division. Regardless, you want to find out what is the #1 priority for you this year, right? That's the heart of the question. So you want to ask and make sure that you find out from your client what is their #1 goal, what is the most important thing for them. And right, by asking them this specifically for their #1 priority, you get to really clarify what that really should be, right? What that #1 priority should be. And that's important because then you can look at how you can help them to achieve this. Plus, you can also then document and refer back to it to help keep your client on course and also focused throughout the conversation and throughout the coming weeks and months and so forth as you work together. Now, #2 is, what do you believe needs to be strengthened in order to support achieving this? So referring back to the first question, which is their #1 priority, right? This question will help you to uncover areas of weakness in your client's business. And sometimes there could be, for example, one employee that is causing a whole deal of trouble. Yet the president has chosen to ignore dealing with the employee and instead masks the problem by convincing themselves that they can solve it by focusing on a separate initiative completely. So here, right, knowing that the employee really is the problem, you can talk more with the president and look at alternatives in dealing with the core issue rather than spending time and money on something completely irrelevant. So by asking, what do you believe needs to be strengthened in order to support achieving this, and again, achieving this is referring to that #1 priority, you get to really focus on what matters most, to uncover the areas of greatest weakness that you can then spend time and work on figuring out how to overcome them and what solution would be the right one. And this helps you to stay on course and to stay focused. And your clients and your prospective buyers appreciate that because oftentimes everyone else around them is just sucking up, is only giving them praise, is saying yes to everything. And so you want to really make sure that you can help to keep the conversation focused and that you can keep them on track. Question #3, what options have you looked at to achieve this, right? So there's no need to reinvent the wheel here, right? You want to understand what your client has done to this point or what they're currently thinking about. And that then will allow you to really think through yourself what other potential recommendations you can provide them. Or maybe something that they've tried has only partially worked and you can then see why it hasn't worked. So the whole idea here is, as a consultant, you don't want to start jumping in right away and giving all types of recommendations and solutions without fully understanding what your ideal client, what the buyer has already considered or has already done to that point. So by asking, what options have you looked at to achieve this? They have the opportunity to tell you what they've done to that point, what they're thinking about doing, and that way you can steer them clear of making additional resources and investments into areas that might not really help them to achieve the result that they're looking for. Question #4, is there anything that you or your employees are doing that may be getting in the way of achieving this result? So now again, right, once you've gone and asked them the question #3, right, to really find out what options they've looked at, you don't want to jump in. You don't want to rush in right away and just tell them what you think. You want to explore that further. And by asking these questions, you're going to have ample opportunity to really see and to understand the severity of the problem and what's going on. So asking, is there anything that you or your employees are doing that may be getting in the way of achieving this result, right? You can find clients that are taking actions that are actually harmful to their business or maybe getting in the way of the progress that they want to make. And so by getting the client or the ideal buyer to speak openly with you about this, you can figure out how to best help them deal with the issue or remove the roadblocks and really overcome the challenge that they're facing. Question number 5, what is unique about your business compared to your competitors? And you can ask this question in many ways. For example, why should your clients choose your company over the competition? Right? Many clients have trouble answering this question, and they'll respond, to things like, they'll say, we've been in business for 30 years, or we have the best service, or our quality is just the best. You know what? Like, who cares about that, right? You need to help them to understand and to remove all this warm and fuzzy stuff, all these terms and language that don't really mean anything, that aren't helping them to move their business forward. And if you ask me, well, Michael, why is that? It's because saying things like best service and highest quality and 30 years in business, most people say that. It doesn't. If everyone's saying the exact same thing, it doesn't make you unique. So by asking your ideal client, the buyer, this question, what is unique about your business compared to your competitors, it gives them the opportunity to say what they're currently telling their ideal clients or their customers, which is their value proposition, which is what makes them different. And if you can see that is not powerful, that's not strong enough, that then is an opportunity for you to help them to correct that. And that may be one of the biggest reasons why they're losing market share, or why their marketing isn't as effective as it used to be, or why they're not getting the attention of their own ideal clients or customers. So ask that question, what is unique about your business compared to your competitors? And don't just accept what they say, right? Really help them to clarify that and to focus on their value proposition so that you can assist them in creating a more competitive, a stronger advantage for their business, and really give them a reason why their ideal clients, why their own customers should choose them over someone else in the competition. And that will put them in a much better place, which will then benefit your business as well, because they're going to want to engage you to help them to work on that. And even if that's not your core area of expertise in terms of consulting, it's still a very, very profound question to ask, because it makes them think. And as you'll notice time and time again, your ideal clients and buyers appreciate people that make them think about things in different ways, people that bring up new viewpoints and ideas that everyone else around them hasn't seen. And oftentimes, that's the greatest value that a consultant can provide, is by asking questions that make them think about things that they haven't thought about. And because they're surrounded, they're in their own bubble, they're so used to doing what they're doing day in and day out, by you asking those questions, they appreciate it. It allows them to see things differently. And that's often what they need to help them to take that next step, to figure things out, to see the clarity, or to gain clarity, I should say, through all of the mist and all of the haze that is often surrounding them. So question number 6, what was the main reason that you wanted to meet with me? So this question, right, is most effective when you find your client isn't engaged in the conversation in the way that you'd like them to be. And this is important and effective because it forces them to take notice and actually tell you why they wanted to meet. And then you can come back to those reasons throughout the conversation and remind them why they wanted to meet with you and the value that you can provide. Now, you don't do this to be pushy, right? It's not about being self-centered, but rather, if the client has told you that they wanted to meet you because they need a consultant that can help them reduce their employee turnover rate, then you can focus the discussion on the keyword employee turnover rate, or lower the employee turnover rate, because that then you know is what is on their mind. That's the reason why they brought you in. And even if that's not the most important issue in terms of what's going to really help them to achieve those results that they want, that's still the keyword that is on their mind, that is in their brain, that they are thinking about. And so you want to reference it. And that also brings the conversation back to what they really value in you and why they want to meet with you specifically. It's a very, very powerful question when used correctly. Now, the 7th question is, who will be making the final decisions on this project, and who will be in charge of implementation? And this is another critical question that amateur consultants often forget to ask. And this should be asked early in the conversation, because you want to ensure that you're dealing with the person in charge that will be writing you the check. At one time or another, right, early in their careers, consultants find themselves working hard to sell their services, only to find out that they've been talking with the wrong person. And this wastes time, and it can really drain your energy and knock your confidence level down to the ground. So you want to ask this question as early as you can in the conversation at the right point to find out and to ensure that you're actually speaking with the economic buyer, with the person that can make that final decision, with the person that can write you the check. Because you don't only want to be speaking to people that can say no to you. You want to also be able to speak to people that can actually say yes to you and that have that final decision. And even if there are other people involved in the decision-making process, you want to make sure that you're speaking with the top person, with the person that has the greatest amount of sway over everyone else and that can really move the direction of the decision in your favor if you really believe that you can help their situation, that you can help that ideal client and buyer to become better off and to receive a significant return on their investment. So, you might be thinking, well, those are 7 questions, Michael. There's other ones. And yes, there are. You're right. There's many other questions that you can ask, but I wanted to share with you 7 critical questions, 7 of the most important ones, and there are many other ones. But ask these questions, and if you're not asking them, or if you're not asking them well enough or often enough, I really encourage you to take the time to do this and to make sure that this is part of your sales conversation, part of that initial meeting and process when you're sitting down with your ideal client and buyer. And I want to say one other thing here, which is that, when you're asking these questions, don't be shy to challenge the buyer. Don't be shy to challenge your ideal client on their responses, because the more you dig in, the more that you can really learn about your client's issues and the buyer's issues, and the greater the value that you will be able to help them to discover and to enjoy throughout the process. As I mentioned to you, the ideal buyer, your ideal client is the decision maker. These are CEOs, these are presidents, these are leaders of organizations, and typically everyone around them is praising them, is saying yes to them, is agreeing with everything that they say. And so your job as the consultant is not to do that. Of course, when you agree with them, let them know, but at the same time, challenge them. Go beyond just saying, I see, and instead ask them questions like, why? Why is that important? How long have you been dealing with this? What will the impact of that be on your business and in your life? You want to really ask them as many questions as you can around this to better understand what is going on and to help them to see things in a different way and to get them to think in a way that they haven't been thinking before. I hope that's been helpful for you, and I really want to encourage you again to start implementing these ideas and testing them out and making them part of your overall process. Now, if you enjoyed this, please do go ahead, share it in your social media, on Facebook, throughout YouTube, Google+, Twitter, wherever you are. Feel free to share it with your colleagues and with your friends, and I hope that you'll do that. Let me give you another resource here to help you to grow your consulting business, and that's the Consulting Success System 2.0. You can find out a lot more about it at consultingsuccess.com. This is our top selling course for people that want to take their consulting business and start landing clients more consistently and effectively and increasing their fees, and really helps people to follow a proven model and process to allow you to grow your business and to become a more successful consultant. So again, you can find a lot more about that at consultingsuccess.com.